You've likely been playing the game of life wrong. Doesn't mean you failed at life or missed some secret tutorial level. It means the rules you've been following were probably invented by tired people, outdated systems, and a motivational poster from 2009. This title points to a strange psychological truth. Most of us are playing a game we never agreed to, using strategies that no longer work, while wondering why the scoreboard feels rigged. This isn't about fixing your life overnight. It's about realizing the game itself might be weird. Let's start counting the mistakes lovingly. Number 1. Confusing movement with progress. You wake up tired, rush somewhere, check a screen, answer messages, complete tasks, and collapse at night feeling busy, very busy, impressively busy, and yet something feels off, like running on a treadmill that's slowly judging you. Your brain is terrible at telling the difference between motion and progress. Evolutionarily, movement meant survival. If you were moving, you weren't being eaten. So modern life hijacks that wiring. Emails, errands, meetings, notifications. They all create the sensation of advancement without actually moving you anywhere meaningful. Psychologically, this is called effort justification. You assume that because something feels exhausting, it must be valuable. But effort and direction are not the same thing. A hamster runs constantly. No one calls it successful. S0 You optimize productivity, faster mornings, better planners, apps that remind you to breathe while stressing you out. And still the finish line keeps politely stepping backward. Because the game you're playing rewards activity, not outcomes. Life progress isn't linear. It's selective. It rewards saying no more than doing more. But nobody tells you that because do less doesn't sell. Planners. Basically, you weren't lazy. You were just sprinting in the wrong direction with excellent form. Number 2. Treating life like school. At some point, you start believing life works the same way school did. Follow the rules, do the assignments, show up on time. Eventually, someone hands you a gold star, a stable future, and emotional fulfillment. Any minute now, probably after the next deadline. This belief sticks because school trained your brain to equate obedience with safety. There was a syllabus, clear instructions, right answers, wrong answers. Life, unfortunately, did not receive the memo. It has no rubric, no grading curve. And the teacher left years ago without explaining the final exam. Psychologically, this creates a quiet panic. You keep waiting for permission to start, to change, to quit, to rest. You assume if you haven't been approved, you're doing something wrong. Meanwhile, the people who seem ahead are often just making moves without asking anyone first. Life rewards initiative, not compliance. But your nervous system still wants a checklist. So you keep collecting achievements that look impressive, but feel hollow, like trophies from a sport you don't remember playing. The cruel joke is that you can do everything right and still feel behind, because the game isn't graded on effort or rule following. It's graded on alignment. And alignment isn't something you're taught. It's something you notice after you're already uncomfortable. Basically, you didn't fail the test. You just kept taking a class that ended years ago. Number 3. Chasing happiness like a prize. Somewhere along the way you start treating happiness like a coupon you forgot to redeem. Once I get the job, once I fix my body, once I move, once everyone finally understands me, happiness becomes a future object, sitting just out of reach, waving smugly. Your brain loves this setup. It runs on anticipation. Dopamine isn't released when you get the thing. It's released when you chase it. So the chase feels productive, motivating, almost joyful, until you arrive, grab the prize, and feel nothing. Or worse, mild disappointment with a side of guilt. Psychologically, this is called the arrival fallacy. You believe a single milestone will permanently upgrade your emotional operating system. But emotions don't work like software updates. They work like weather, temporary, contextual, unimpressed by your plans. S0 You move the goalpost. New target, new chase, new promise. Your life becomes a series of almost that moments. Like waiting for a bus that keeps changing routes. You're not unhappy because something is wrong. You're unhappy because you outsource contentment to a future version of yourself who is also tired. The game of life doesn't reward happiness hoarding. It rewards engagement, presence. Accepting that joy is a side effect, not a destination basically. Happiness isn't lost. You just keep scheduling it for later. Number 4. Using comparison as a compass. You open your phone for 1 second, just one, and suddenly, you're touring other people's lives. Like it's an open house for success. Better bodies, better careers, better lighting. Someone younger than you is doing something impressive, with confidence you didn't receive in your starter pack. Your brain treats comparison like useful data. It thinks if I know where everyone else is, I'll know where I should be. But psychologically, comparison hijacks motivation and turns it into anxiety. Instead of asking what do I want, you ask why am I behind? The problem isn't that comparison exists. It's that you're comparing your behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel. Their edited moments against your raw footage. That's not information. That's emotional sabotage. With Wi-Fi evolutionarily, comparison helped tribes survive. Status mattered. Belonging mattered. But modern comparison has no off switch. You're comparing yourself to thousands of people you will never meet, in games you never agreed to play. And the worst part, even when you win, it doesn't feel good. Because someone else is always ahead, louder, shinier, or richer. Usually by accident basically. You didn't lose direction. You just let other people's scoreboards borrow your self-esteem. Number 5. Believing comfort means safety. Imagine your life as a couch. It's familiar. It knows your shape. It forgives your posture. And slowly, quietly, it starts absorbing your ambition like a sponge. Comfort feels safe because your nervous system loves predictability. Same routine, same problems, same small complaints you've learned how to manage. Psychologically, your brain equates familiar with non-lethal, not good, not fulfilling, just survivable. So when an opportunity shows up that feels uncertain, a new path, a risk, a change, your body reacts like you're about to fight a bear. Heart rate up, logic down. Suddenly staying stuck feels responsible. This is why people stay in jobs they hate, routines that drain them, and relationships that feel like expired milk. Discomfort gets labeled as danger, even when it's actually growth. Wearing bad PR. The game of life doesn't reward comfort. It rewards tolerable discomfort, the kind that stretches you without breaking you. But nobody tells you how to spot the difference. So you default to what feels calm, even if that calm is slowly anesthetizing you. You call it stability. Your brain calls it survival mode. Your future self calls it, why didn't we move sooner? Basically, you weren't choosing safety. You were choosing the pain you already knew how to sit with. Number 6. Thinking you're late. At some point, a quiet thought sneaks in and refuses to leave. I'm behind. Behind where? Unclear. Behind whom? Everyone. According to your brain, there's a universal life timeline you somehow misplaced. Like an instruction manual everyone else received in the mail. This belief is psychological poison. With excellent marketing, your brain loves deadlines. They create urgency, meaning, drama. So it invents one: a career deadline, a relationship deadline, a success by 30 or else deadline. None of these are real, but your nervous system treats them like overdue bills. What's actually happening is social time distortion. You're surrounded by visible milestones, engagements, promotions, achievements, but you don't see the years of confusion, luck, help, and random chaos behind them. You're measuring your internal clock against other people's external events. That's not timing, that's self-inflicted pressure. And ironically, feeling late makes you rush into bad decisions. You choose paths because they are fast, not because they fit. You grab whatever looks respectable, just to stop the panic. Speed becomes the goal. Direction gets evicted. Life doesn't run on a single schedule. It runs on readiness. And readiness can't be rushed. It arrives when pretending stops working. Basically, you're not late. You're just not on someone else's imaginary timeline anymore. Number 7. Treating your brain like an enemy. At some point, you start talking about your own brain like it's a malfunctioning coworker. My brain is lazy. My brain is broken. Why can't my brain just cooperate for once? You see it as something to discipline, hack, optimize, or overpower with productivity hacks and cold showers. But psychologically, your brain isn't sabotaging you. It's protecting you using outdated software. It was designed to keep you alive on a savanna, not fulfilled. In a calendar full of meetings and existential dread, when it resists change, procrastinates, or panics, it's not being evil. It's being cautious. In a world that doesn't fully understand. So you declare war on yourself. More discipline, less rest, push harder, override signals, ignore burnout like it's a pop-up ad. And for a while this works, until it doesn't, because brains don't respond well to threats from their own body. The game of life isn't about conquering your brain. It's about negotiating with it, learning when resistance means fear, and when it means exhaustion. Progress happens when you cooperate with your wiring, not when you bully it into compliance. Basically, your brain isn't the villain. It's just an overworked security guard who never clocks out. Number 8. Expecting life to feel clear. You keep waiting for clarity, a sign, a moment where everything clicks and your brain goes, ah yes, this is the path. You imagine confidence arriving, like a cinematic voiceover, swelling music included. Instead, what you get is uncertainty. Wearing sweatpants. Psychologically, humans overestimate how clear decisions feel before they're made. We think confident people know what they're doing. In reality, they just tolerate ambiguity better. Most big life choices don't come with certainty. They come with a mild stomach ache and a lot of, I guess we'll see. Your brain hates this. It wants guarantees. It wants proof. So it stalls, researching, planning, overthinking, waiting for clarity to show up, so it can feel safe moving forward. But clarity isn't a prerequisite for action. It's a side effect of it. You don't think your way into confidence. You act your way into it. This is why people stay stuck in analysis loops that feel intelligent but produce nothing. Thinking feels productive. Deciding feels risky. So you confuse caution with wisdom and call it being responsible. The game of life doesn't reward certainty. It rewards experiments, small bets, direction over confidence. Clarity usually shows up after you've already started moving. Slightly embarrassed you waited so long. Basically, you weren't lost. You were just demanding a map for a territory that only reveals itself once you walk into it. Number 9. Waiting to feel ready. You tell yourself you'll start when you feel ready. When confidence appears. When fear leaves. When motivation stops ghosting you. Readiness becomes a mythical creature, spotted by others, never by you. Here's the psychological prank. Ready is not an emotion. It's a story your brain tells to delay exposure to discomfort. Your nervous system prefers known misery over unknown possibility, so it invents a future version of you who is braver, calmer, and somehow immune to anxiety. That person never shows up. By the way, they're fictional, like a stress-free adult. Most people who did the thing you admire didn't feel ready. They felt nervous, underqualified, slightly stupid, and weirdly committed. Action didn't follow confidence. Confidence followed survival. The brain learns after you do something scary and don't die. Waiting to feel ready is like waiting for your muscles to grow. Before going to the gym, you're demanding the reward before the process. And life does not work on pre-orders. The game of life rewards imperfect action. It doesn't care if you're ready. It cares if you're willing to tolerate awkwardness long enough to learn. Growth feels illegal at first, like you're breaking a rule no one actually made. Basically, readiness isn't missing. You're just trying to feel brave before doing the brave thing. Number 10. playing to win instead of to learn. Somewhere along the way, you decided life is something you are supposed to win. Win the job, win the relationship, win at being impressive, stable, admired, and somehow relaxed at the same time. Losing, meanwhile, feels like a personal flaw. Not data, but psychologically. Treating life like a win-lose game breaks your brain. Because learning requires mistakes, and mistakes feel like losing. So you avoid them. You play small, safe, predictable. You choose paths where you already look competent, even if they quietly suffocate you. The people who seem ahead aren't better players. They're better learners. They try things that don't work publicly, repeatedly. Their self-worth isn't glued to the outcome. So failure doesn't feel fatal. It feels informative. Meanwhile, you're protecting your identity like it's fine china, afraid one wrong move will shatter it. Life isn't a tournament. There's no final boss, no podium, no moment where confetti falls, and someone hands you permanent satisfaction. It's a long, messy tutorial that never stops updating. And the goal isn't to win. It's to adapt once you stop trying to get life right. Something strange happens. You relax. You experiment. You play. And ironically, things start working better. Not because you cracked the code, but because you stopped treating every move like it had to justify your existence. Basically, you weren't losing the game of life. You were just playing it like it ends. That's all for today. I will be making similar videos in the future.